Hi guys, I'm Tiwa from Wiser Biker, and today I've got a very nice bike in the house that I want to show you, and it is the Cannondale Synapse 5. It's owned by a very cheerful lady customer of mine. This is why you can see that the bike is pretty small size, but it's got a lot of good features in it. That's what I want to show you. Now, first look, the Cannondale Synapse is actually this particular model is actually a 2009 model. It looks nothing like a very old bike. In fact, it still looks very classy and it's got a lot of components that is still good as of today. But let's take a closer look. This Synapse 5 actually uses a aluminum frame with a carbon fork. And it's got a lot of good components such as the 10-speed Shimano 105 shifters. Front and rear derailleurs are all Shimano 105. It is using Tetra caliber brakes. And it also comes with Shimano RS10 wheel sets. As for the crankset and the bottom bracket, it is by FSA. Now all these components are very good as of even for today's standard, I would say. And if you look at the paintwork, which is something that I myself love in particular, it is very, very nice with a lot of details, especially this part on the top tube. You can see that the paintwork is done so nicely. It sparkles. It doesn't look old-fashioned. In fact, it's got that touch of class in it. At one look, you will just fall in love with this. So let me share with you some of the key features of this bike. Now, the Cannondale Synapse is actually built for endurance riding. The geometry is designed for you to ride in a more upright posture. So you see the ridge is shorter and the headset part is actually higher. So you are riding at a more upright posture. So it's actually very comfortable to ride on. And it's got this technology by Cannondale, which is the SAVE technology. It stands for the Slice Aero Vibration Elimination technology. So it makes the bike overall even more comfortable when you're riding on it. Okay, so you must be wondering, why am I showing you this bike today? No, we're not going to do a bike review on this. We just thought that it would be nice for you to see some of the real life actions that's happening here at my workshop. That this is the bike that is sent in by a customer and is facing some real issue. And as I do the repair and the servicing on these bikes, I thought it would be useful for you to learn some of the tips or pick up some of the knowledge on how to do it yourself as well. So today in particular for this bike, I'm going to replace a handlebar tape as well as to tune the front and rear derailleurs. So let's start and get going. Alright, so I will start with tuning of the front and rear derailleurs because it may get dirty. I don't want to dirty the new bar tape. For front and rear derailleur, usually I will try to tune the rear derailleur first. But in doing so, the very first step I'll do is actually to fix the front derailleur in position. Before that, I was doing a servicing on it, so I actually took out the whole derailleur. Now for now, I have to make sure that the front derailleur is tightened at the right height because I want to work on the rear derailleur first. For this step, I'm just fixing the chain on the big chain ring so I can work on the rear first. So when tuning the rear derailleur, I will always put it to the heaviest gear. So shift it all to the heaviest, so it's heavier means it's outermost. Then I'll make sure that I have the correct limit of cable, shifting cable here. So to make a few rounds, I'll pull it tight, pull the shifter cable tight. You can use a plier or I'll use my hand. I just have to, now you may find that it is not very tight if you use your hand. Sometimes you can, so that's why you should use your plier. But what I will do is first I will just tighten it like this and I will shift the shifter. Okay, I'll try to shift it up. Now clearly I can't really, okay, I can still go to the lightest gear. Okay, but this may seem a little bit loose. So that's when I actually use this small tuning knob to adjust a little bit of the tension. Now, at this point in time, when I shift to the next gear, but the chain doesn't go up, it doesn't go to the next lighter gear, it means the tension in the shifter cable itself is not enough. And that's when you turn this knob anti-clockwise slowly, maybe a quarter turn by a time until it goes up. Now it goes up after I shift a quarter turn. Okay, and then you make sure that you don't hear any rubbing sound, or you can check from behind. Just look from behind to see that the chain and the pulleys are all in the same straight line. All right, there's no sound. Then I continue to shift to the next gear. It should work nicely for all the other gears smoothly. Go faster. Right, it goes to every gear. Down. Let me try this one again. Okay. All right. So basically, I've got every gear now aligned in. And I go to the lighter side to make sure that it doesn't go out of the lightest gear. At this point, if I press more, this derailleur is not moving. I'm actually shifting the gear. I'm pushing it inward more, but it's not moving out. That actually means that the limit screw is at the right place. It's preventing the pulleys from shifting outward of the lightest gear. So I've got them all set now. All right, I'm done with the rear derailleur. Set the front derailleur, tune the front derailleur. I will shift the rear gear to the lightest, which is the biggest gear. Now, the reason why I put the rear derailleur to all the way to the lightest gear is so that I want to make sure that when I'm at the lightest combination of gear, big at the back and small, the big at the back and small in front, I will not scratch the chain. So at this point, I will adjust the limit screw to the point that it is about half a mm or about 1 mm away. See the inner side of the, at this point of time, the inner side of the front derailleur is about 1 to 2 mm away from the chain. So the point that I'm doing this is that I want to make sure that the inner side of the front derailleur is about 1 to 2 mm away from the chain, so that at the lightest gear combination, and when you ride on it, it doesn't scratch the chain. Now, you may not be able to see very clearly on camera now, but I believe that you get the idea what I'm doing now. Okay, so that's the limit for the light gear, for the light chain ring. It's time for me to put in the front shifting cable. Put it into the right position and tighten it. Again, I'm just using my hand to tighten it. You can use a plier. Sometimes I also use a plier if it's just too loose. But this one seems fine. I just use my hand to pull it and tighten it. Okay, then I'll try to shift. Seems shifting very well. One half a gear, go back in. Let me try to shift again outward to the heavier gear. And there you go. So at the heavier gear, I'm going to shift the rear. I'm going to do a check to see that it works well with the rear gears, the rear derailleurs. So I'm going to shift the rear derailleur to the heavier gear, so that I get the heaviest combination. Now at the heaviest gear combination, that means the bigger chainring in front and the smallest cock at the back, I want to make sure that the chain is not rubbing the outside of the front derailleur. I want to make sure that it's not rubbing the outside of the derailleur. Now, for me, it looks a little bit tight from here. It is like there's not much occurrence. It's almost touching the chain is almost scratching the side of the derailleur here. So what you can do for this minor adjustment is, for this bike, this model in particular, is very handy that it comes with a barrel adjuster. So what you can do is just to turn it a little bit, turn the barrel adjuster a little bit. So now, from my view, it's actually very clear that I get now a 1 mm gap between the chain and the outside wall of the derailleur, as compared to earlier on where it was just touching. Now I've got a gap, and so when I'm riding it, it will not scratch. Voila! Now shift again, try the different gear combination, front and rear, just to play around and see if you can get all the gears smoothly in aligned position. Alright, so one thing I want to highlight to you at this point of time is that if you are doing a cross chain, which means your front derailleur is at the bigger chain ring and the rear is at the largest cock, then this is a situation whereby you're having a cross chain situation. You're having a cross chain scenario where your chain is actually very much slanted. And at this scenario, you will definitely, or most likely, you will get your chain scratching the inner side of your front derailleur, the inner wall of the front derailleur. Like some of my customers don't understand it. They thought that it is not right. It is to scratch, but it is absolutely normal to scratch simply because of the big angle of the chain that is being slanted. So while this is possible, while this combination is possible, don't do this combination of gears because it's going to add a lot of tension and stress to your chain. So it will wear off your chain very fast. Actually, in fact, it may sometimes your chain may just snap because of riding too hard on a cross chain scenario. Okay, so it applies to the other way of cross chain, which means having the small chain ring on the inside and the largest and the smallest cock on the rear derailleur. So the same things happen. The chain is now again crossed. So remember, do not cross the chain. When you have your derailleurs all set up and your chains all nicely in position, don't forget to add in some lubricants, the chain loops, so to make your chain more well-oiled and move smoothly. So I'm using the Squirt Dry Chain Loop. It's a wax with water emulsion. So I'll just apply it on the small amount, bit by bit, onto the rollers, because that's more important. Remember to shake it well. If you're using something like this, the emulsion type, I will apply on the rollers because mainly I want them to zip into the rollers, and so when the chain moves, it will be very smooth. It will roll very well. I mean, it seems like a lot of them, I'm applying a lot onto it, but it's okay because I will rub it off. I'll rub off the excess later. Now I just make sure that there is sufficient amount that goes into the rollers and not just on one side or a little bit on the surface. I want to make sure that it zips into the rollers themselves. Right, and after I leave it dry for a while, or probably overnight if you can, then I will rub off the excess on the outside because I don't want it to attract any dust or mud, sand, whatever. I just want the rollers to be well lubricated. We're done with the chain. Now we are done with the derailleurs. I'm going to move on to the bar tips. I'm going to remove the old one. This one is really pretty worn out. Okay. Lift this up. Whoa. It's quite common to see some mold inside. Yeah, this is a sign of all your hard work, your sweat. You can actually use some soap to clean it off. It's always good because all these are just salt and bacterial, to prevent bacterial growth. I mean, to clean them up. Okay, now that we have cleaned this up, next I'm going to install the new bar tape, and this is from Physic for Endurance 2.5 mm thick bar tape. It's very nice texture and it's anti-slip. Okay, well, there are many ways to wrap a bar tape, so I'll just show you my preferred way. And along the way, maybe I can share with you 1 or 2 tips. So maybe you will find them useful. Alright. You can start from the top down or bottom up. For myself, I like to start from bottom up. From the right side, I will angle it to 2 o'clock direction. Wrap it up from the bottom. And give them 2 closing. Wrap it up. Make sure that the tape area doesn't really wrap on. It's only wrapping on the handlebar itself, not on the bar tape. Don't cover, not overlap the bar tape. So alright, so at the end, I would always like to leave a little bit of space here, preferably about 3 to 4 cm, in case you want to put accessories such as light or bicycle computer, etc. So don't wrap it all the way. And to seal it off, you cut the tape in an angle. such an angle. So when you wrap it, it will be just nice in a straight line. And you seal it off with the tape. The tape that comes with, you can use black tape. Okay. You can either use black tape or the tape that comes with the bar tape if there is any, to wrap it off. And just to take note is that when you wrap it, just make sure the end side is at the bottom instead. Right. One thing is that it looks better. The other thing is, for practical reason, that every time you grip it, you want it to be tighter and not making it loose instead. Alright, so it should be wrapped that with the end at the bottom. So you roughly know where to start now. So when you do the tape, make sure, I mean, just a good thing to have is to make sure that the ending is at the bottom and not on the front. So it's, number one, it is more nicer, it looks better, and practically you won't be peeling it off every time you are gripping it. Do the same for the other side, except that now the tape, I'll anchor it at the 10 o'clock direction, just the opposite from the right side. Okay, so I've entered the bar tape, and you can see my preference is to actually make the bar tape wrap in the direction that is smooth and in the same direction as how my finger would wrap around the bar itself. So it's actually the same direction as my finger on both sides here as well when I grab it. Okay, so that's it for this bike today, and I hope you learn something about it. Do let me know what you think about our content today. Do you enjoy it, or is there anything that you think that we can improve on while we're just trying it out and see if it can benefit you? If the camera angles or any other parts that we can improve on, please leave a comment in the comment box so we can improve on that, and hopefully in the future the video can be even better. Okay, so thank you very much. I really enjoyed today's session, and as usual, I really hope that the owner of this bike can enjoy riding it, can enjoy this new bar tape, new setup with nice grip, and a very smooth ride with a nicely tuned derailleurs and shifters. Okay, so thank you very much, and I hope to see you soon again. I'm Tifa from Wiser Biker.